What's going on? One time for your mind. Something that really hit my head. Okay. Right now, we're going to say, not saying today like today, but today, new producers and artists that are not just a lot of people that are new to music. We're just going to say music babies, okay? The new music babies right now are not attached to the artistry. They're not attached to, and we say attached like they're not invested in artistry. They're just a fan of the finished product. And it was said right. It was said right. They're a fan of the finished product. And so they feel like just because they can do it in a minuscule way that they've got it. That doesn't mean you have it. You just have human talent. Everyone has talent. Everybody has an expression to make and to put forth. Now, can you articulate what you're trying to express correctly, or at least work at different aspects of expression to try and get your point across? And that is what they lack in life, not just in music. So when you lack the ability to articulate your point in life, then when it comes to expressions and you don't have much range, that's the other part. It's not that they can't rap. Their lyrical range is so small, and their range of imagination is so small. It's not that their imagination doesn't have strength, but it doesn't have range. It's like a shotgun. It's gonna shoot really strong, but we're not saying any shotgun like you have a slug. A slug's gonna go precise if it's made right. Buckshot is just gonna spread. It's like a BB gun that shoots 50 times at one time, and it spreads, and the energy is lost because it's spreading. But with music, music is not like a gun. It's like it's like energy. It's like a vibration. It's like a breath. But it's like a breath, or it's not just a sound. You understand that? That's the vibration of it. It's a breath and feeling for your body, not so much for your ears. Even though your ears translate it, the feeling is in the music. So once you take your vibrations in music and you box them in, when you box them in so small to the point where it's like a cliche or a little board game, something repetitive. You take away from the strength of something that you already have. Now, the problem that I see is they're so attached to the result. They're so attached to the finished product so much that they're not worried about how they get there, and they're not really worried about quality as long as what they're doing at the moment sounds like where they're gonna be when it's finished. And that's not the idea of doing music, especially from an engineer's perspective, producer's perspective, or a vocalist's perspective. We're not saying lyricism, but we're saying a vocalist perspective. But these are all parts of the same thing. And some people get into the mindset of, well, I can get by with this much, then I can keep going. But there's so much competition. It's like trying to be a college football star, but you can run a 4.5. Everybody can get to a 4.5. Damn near everybody. And that's crazy. But if you were to try for shaving off of 2 more points, like 4.3, or a high 4.4, like damn near 4.3, now it's starting to look different. But the reason it looks different is because of this. You are understanding that it takes a little bit more. You have to stand out. And if your passion is not that big, you've got to either find it within yourself, or you're going to have to go ahead and just come up with, come up with a new creation that is not influenced by your current feelings. It's influenced by spiritual gifts that help you to see forward and help you to feel things that you have yet had the ability to experience and to express, which sounds crazy, but you can experience things spiritually years before you can actually express them or before anybody else have even seen a manifestation of it or even understand the role of certain energy in work. So I just had to because I'm starting to understand. And then this is the other part. A lot of people who are creative and coming up with ideas and doing this and doing that, what they have had happen now is that they're running into people who don't understand it on any level except for consumption. Like you get what I'm saying? Like your customers are telling you how to run your business. They're not telling you what they want out of your business. They're telling you how to run your business. And then you can't let a customer tell you how to run your business, especially a customer of someone else who hasn't yet to shop with you and understand what you offer as a business person. So if you put that in a music perspective, if this person doesn't even understand what you're offering, and we're not saying genres because that's what people get caught up in genres. If you make music, you make music. You just choose to stay where you're at or move around and get a better versed and a better cultured knowledge of what it is that you're taking part in. Understand that you're taking part in something when you participate as a musician, artist, or whatever. When you create something from your spirit, energy, and put it out there. Not this bullshit that people are just repeating visuals that they've seen over and over again, and this stuff is coming out of your mind. That's why it's so limited. That's why the lyrical range is so limited, because you're expressing thoughts and not expressing feelings. So that's why I kind of understand that most rappers or most entertainers that are coming into the harder genre, who's gonna put it like that, the harder genre when it comes to rap subgenre, because we're not gonna put you in a gangster rap, because a gangster rap is like a reggae. It's gonna tell you what you've got going on. It's gonna tell you some subject matter of what this person has going on. But then this person, the MC, is gonna take the conversation in a different direction and point you to understanding of your condition. Also point you to understanding of your actions that feed your condition and other actions that may take you in different directions in order to feed you correctly. Now, people aren't feeding themselves. So this is why they have what they have. This is why you have artists thinking that, oh my God, you can't have people taking 80%. They're looking for enemies outside. You make your own enemy with the choices you make, and that is the maturity that I'd like to see in a lot of people that are over the age of 25, 26, 27. And they're trying to, it's that baby syndrome. It's like when a new baby is born, there's always that one kid that wants to still be a baby, or there's always that kid that's still just close enough to where they think that they're still deserving of baby type attention rather than getting forward and moving forward. But it's all good because everybody's going to learn in their own time. Hopefully they decide to try to push harder when they see something that they're passionate about, adamant about, and they're trying to get to. But most times they don't. They give up on their dreams, and then they would try to sell you into the same type of emotional space. And that's the problem. People don't understand you don't need money to buy into an emotional space. And people can offer that to you and appeal to you. Some of their arguments are so compelling that you do take ownership in certain aspects of it and attribute those qualities or whatever is going on. You attribute that to yourself. Physically invest, and now you're feeling a certain way. So then you'd run into somebody, say, like me, that's just like, I'm helping you. I don't give a fuck. And you have to understand what that means. I'm the type of person, I'm not going to let your confusion from whatever else you've dealt with keep me from getting to where and why I was placed here, because I try to stay in touch spiritually. So I understand where I'm going and that you don't go anywhere and be around anyone for no reason. And when you have a certain amount of a gift, you have to impart or at least try to put it out there. The person don't have to take onto it, but when you put it out there, it's in the air. That type of energy is in the air, so they may not catch it, never, but they'll still understand, still have the ability. We're not going to say they'll understand, but they're still being afforded the opportunity and given time to understand, and giving someone who may be wise counsel or someone at least have experience in the same situations, so that this way they can, figure out what they got going on. So to wrap up one time for your mind, as an artist, do not invest. As a producer, do not invest. As someone creative, period, do not invest in the nonsense of people who are not trying to push themselves. If you see someone who's pushing themselves, if you see somebody who's got a lot going on, it just looks crazy, and they're saying stuff that's making your head hurt. You get what I'm saying? And they're not slowing down. They're not stopped by these same things that are stopping you. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I get the people all the time, like, they'll get so mad at me. And because of me being a person where I'm open, so I'm going to allow you a little bit of a lane. But the thing is, I'm not going to allow you to take your emotions and try to trump facts, period. Because me, as a producer, as a whatever, dealing with music and dealing with all of that, if you know me, especially people who know me for a long time, know, like, I'm the pull-up guy. Like, this shit really, literally saved my motherfucking life. And I'm not going to let nobody sit here and think that there's a way to squash me spiritually. You're not going to squash me spiritually, because I always came up in life like that. Like, I've been the kid that got, I don't care. Like, it's not that, it's not time for me to tell a sob story, but I've came up with opposition for myself and bought into it because other people came up with oppositions. And then I sold myself on the stuff that I really didn't believe. I didn't believe it in me, my body, but in my mind, it was so easily put together in a square logic. You understand? When I say square logic, like a box, like something that makes it easy for me to give up on something that I shouldn't. And we somehow do that enough to where we get comfortable doing it. We get comfortable giving up on stuff because we've been given an option and a tool in which to use on ourselves to give up. And a lot of people won't grasp that. And so they don't know when they're going there. They don't know when they're getting so toxically, like, it's not combative, but it is combative. But it's not the word I'm looking for. They get toxically depressed, and then it doesn't contain itself within them. So then it just starts to leech off on other people. And then they've been repressed because someone else taught them how to repress. Just by an example, okay? You don't have to be, somebody don't have to sit there in your head going da 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 da. But I'm the type of person to go like that because I'm gonna go at you the same way that subconsciously people are going at you with the negativity, with the downplaying of your own abilities, with the backing yourself into a corner. You understand? Backing yourself into a corner. Now, if you have a strategy for that type, you understand? If you're that type of escape artist, that's how you get it done. Sometimes you might have to put the pressure on yourself. But I'm saying backing yourself into a corner, strategically knowing that you can now give up. That's the problem that I have. And then when somebody runs into a person like me, they try to attribute me to them and the quality that they're exhibiting or that they picked up from someone else. I'm the person that says, yeah, whatever, because I'm going to go get facts. Or I see enough clues and hints to see that I'm in the right direction. It's just popular opinion says no. So then I put weight and value into something when I say invest. You're putting weight and value into something. You get what I'm saying? There's weight and value in the music that we have today, and the guys aren't talking about nothing that you can't just say. Okay, like put it like this: if I can't, if I can fit your whole rap scheme into a 30-second Instagram clip, you're not rapping about anything. You understand? If I can put your whole scheme in there. When I say your whole scheme, I'm saying I can put your whole I can take what you have and break it down to 4 bars. And that's usually what these dudes are doing. They're fucking off for 4 bars. And then you understand, like you only have I said this and broke it down because there's people who write as you I'm not saying you need the skill, but to compete on a high level, you have to put as many skills of orators, okay? Skills of orators under your belt. So, like poets, all kinds of people who are performance artists, who vocalize as their expression. You have to understand how to break and chop what you got down. You have to understand how to come at it from so many angles that you're going to either create subsections or at least discover them, not say so much create, but or you may have the ability to. Not, oh, I'm going to come in it with some shit that's so simple that people think it's not being done. It's being done. But that's the shit, this is the shit that we did not certify before. It's just that now every person has the ability, you have the ability to grow in it. But if you've gone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mixtapes in, and you've gone more than 1, 2, 3 years, 4, 5, 6 months, you have a progression of time, but you don't have a progression of personal growth. So that's where the problems come in. Because you get complacent and think your life's gonna be like this moment forever. Why would you think the song says I wish? It's not that you can, you wish. I'm not mad at nobody. I'm just understanding because I just wasn't the person to let you stop me. Like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and when you might see me with a cell phone at the club talking to an artist, click, 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 click. You understand? Like and at the time like there were I didn't have time to get cameras. I didn't have money to get cameras and I was doing that. I was doing photo shoots, I was doing like pictorials, all kind of stuff with cell phones. But I was ahead of the game in a sense of my area because by the time I got cameras, now brothers is doing it with cell phones. They doing multiple angles. But the worst part was the people I know, they're putting this on a huge machine that cost a lot. And they could have got a camera. They just so afraid of using the camera itself that they hindered themselves instead of just saying, you know what, let me try and get it right. No, I'm going to hinder myself and work with what I'm comfortable with. And then they stepped on their own toes. But that was over time. Now, you can do whatever you want. And it's not hard to accomplish. You could end up with, when I say shitloads of equipment, shitloads of equipment. There's a lot of old analog equipment. There's a lot of old digital equipment that is now in the same price range as the analog. And the analog stuff that was antique and was super cheap now is now becoming vintage, classic. So now all that analog stuff is coming back because people are having to go back and relearn. And I know why I'm so ahead as it comes to the collective path. We're not saying everybody, but the collective path, I'm ahead because I came up with 8-track tapes. I came up with 2-track tapes. I came up with 45s and regular long play vinyls. I came up with the real things with real band driven record players that you can barely touch or you rip the bands. Come on, man. Or the bands is old and crackly and you can't start trying to go backwards and forwards with them. You just got to play and drop, blend. And then you can't even, man. Now I got stuff that it blows the mind. And I don't pay a lot for stuff, so I got that for the low. Because I waited I was patient. But I work with what I got to get what I want. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to work with what they got. They want to work with the next man got. They want to have the best stuff and don't even know how to use it. They want 30,000 customers and don't have 30,000 customer type, offerings. You get what I'm saying? It's like that's what the biblical stories are about. They're showing you how you can overcome. They're showing examples of how you can overcome. But the thing is, you have to have the faith, and you still have to have some kind of preparation. You understand? It's like I don't like to use the stories because people be like, "Oh, you're preaching." But that's the simplest story of the two fish and the loaves. Somebody came prepared. So when somebody comes prepared, there's another person who could take that effort and multiply. If somebody comes prepared, but if nobody's prepared, you're gonna need a real miracle. One time for your mind, man. That's I'm gonna just keep it like that. I'm not trying to. I don't care if I lose somebody because they would like to nitpick. If you're gonna be this big and and then you're trying to fight a problem that's this big, y'all can have it. The world is here. There's a whole lot more to deal with. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna try to keep my mind on positivity and this type of being able to express because I see small problems that people are even like all kinds of stuff. I don't want to rearrange your thinking. I just want to offer more perspective. And that's what One Time for Your Mind is all about. That's really what it's about. It's for you to think and take that thinking and use it aggressively. Because once you get on it like that and you use that type of logic to analyze how you're thinking and how you're dealing with yourself, how you're seeing yourself, how you're treating yourself, then you're going to start to understand that even I can learn from a fucked up person. I can learn from a retarded person. I can learn from somebody who has all these problems because as much as I have going on up here, there's people who call me and have the money to get everything they want. And they still need to call somebody like me, or I got to call somebody like this one guy. He might be an expert. It's so funny. It's so funny because when you realize that that's what all these movies and quests and journeys is about. There's always that one guy that he might not have got nothing else right but this one thing. And he might not have did nothing with himself with this one thing, but he went and pursued it. So now when that one person feeds in, bam. I got fed in by DJs that just never did nothing but get money. And they wasn't, and it was all different people. But they all got money. Like, it might have worked construction. They might actually DJ for a living. They might have threw parties for a living. All of that. But they might have worked clubs. But guess what? I related to each one in such a way to where I say, if they had stuck to it, I see why they're pushing me. Because I'll be so much happier as a person knowing the line that I came from, and not even talking about blood, but knowing the line that I came from getting where I'm at. If I was to shout the DJs out that I came around in contact with and the ones that showed me and I learned, and engineers, it might be people that I am having problems with. You might be people you heard me saying this and that about, but they weren't afraid at that moment. They might have gotten to a new fear and tried to broke me in with them because they're like, oh, don't leave me back here with my fears. You understand? That's why people pull on you. That's why people provoke you, prod you, all of that. This is how my wrap-ups are going to be. Just know that. I'm going to really get into it more in the wrap-up. But this is why people poke and prod you and try to come at you with craziness. They try to tell you something about what you got going on. They try to get you to get out your skin. And women do this the most. Women do this the most. But it's a lot of men with feminine type mindsets, and they do that as well. Like some turtle and rabbit race type nonsense, where I'm going to try to throw you off with some bullshit. Rather than try to win off my skill and cunning within me, I'm going to put something out there and hopefully that deals with you. But the thing is, when you do stuff like that, that energy is out there. So if it was to in turn turn back towards you or make its way back to you, you have to still deal with it. You have to be prepared before you even put stuff out there, them type of plays. You got to have the antidote before you deal in poison. So you have to understand that I don't even know how to. It's an understanding. Everything lives and breathes. It's put like that. Everything lives and breathes. So there is energy, and when you use energy to get something done, then as well that type of energy is then put out. There's enemies of it, but you don't have to buy into the enemies of positivity, even though they're provocative, even though they're interesting, oh so interesting. The enemies of progress, they're so interesting, but the truth is stranger than fiction. Cliche, but true. It is stranger than fiction. So it took me a while even to get on this because, like I said, articulation. I wasn't able to take my thoughts and train them in on a specific thing that I'm seeing because I had to experience it a few more different ways so that I could express better. I could express a full idea enough to where they're like, okay, now you're making sense. You're not just like giving me these quick motivational, I'm not gonna joke yet. I'm not gonna joke yet. I know I talk plenty shit, but I'm not gonna joke on that. But yeah, it's it's not hard to make it in music though. It really isn't. And that's what I'm just gonna be one time before your mind. I guess I'll start titling these when they're starting to get more narrowed in. But right now, we're just gonna leave it wide open, and we're just gonna go probably number them by the day or number them by just whichever release it is. Hmm. Life isn't as crazy as we think, but in the same respect, it's crazier. Than we think. I guess or maybe we just look over it one time for your mind.